Previously on Bollocks.
Bollocks. Cajones in Spanish. Brandon from Top Odds.
Yes, I know.
Hi, Brandon. How are you, mate? We've had quite a chaotic programme. I just phoned one football writer and got another one. But anyway, it worked out all right. And Brandon, a lot of what we've talked about today has been Spanish. We've had Simpiwe Mtsweni scoring an own goal, which the Spanish have picked up and gone viral with. And we've had a quite sensational evening last night from about, 9:30 on. We had first Barcelona, Neymar scoring twice, then and Messi, and then Real Madrid losing to Sevilla, which is just unheard of, at the squeaky bottom time of the season. And I was just wondering if Top Odds can give us some kind of idea of where the betting is going in Spain, or is it too soon after last night's games?
No, it is too soon after last night's games. None of the bookies are up at the moment, but
Okay.
the results are going to throw everything out of whack.
Yeah.
There was no one expected Real Madrid to go to Sevilla and lose. And my goodness gracious, Barcelona winning, and after winning El Clasico, in my opinion, that game was match fixed.
That's what I said.
Because Real Madrid were very, very good in that game. They came from behind, to take the lead, and then all of a sudden, again, the referee ruins it.
Yep.
And he really did ruin. He ruined a game that could have been an absolute classic. And from that point on, you had to feel that Barcelona would get the equaliser and then the winner. They did from the penalty, and the winner came after that. So, Spain's very, very interesting now. I don't know how you cannot deal with Atletico Madrid. Although when Barcelona and Real Madrid are chasing you, they just might falter. But I think Diego Simeone's got them right this year. And imagine they were to win the Spanish league. I mean, my goodness gracious.
First time since 1992, is it? I'm trying to think when Atleti last won it. Listen, mate. So can I just confirm that you're saying that as Top Odds spokesman that match fixing was involved when Real Madrid went down 4-3 to Barcelona in El Clasico at the weekend. Hell of an El Clasico, by the way. But yes, I think the Spanish referees are rubbish. I think that, and I can say this now because I've already admitted what a good season it's been for Spain. They don't half fall over a lot. And they don't half pretend to be injured a lot. I'd love to have gone to school there. I would have been the school bully there instead of being the bullied schoolboy here. I would have gone to Spain and breathed on people, and they'd go down and go, "Oh, teacher, he's hurt me."
In the chess team.
Exactly, mate. In the chess team, they get 14 injuries. It's unbelievable. But yes, I'm glad you come out and say it like it is, Brandon. But who do you think will win it out of those three?
Oh, you know what? You actually can't discount Barcelona now. That Clasico game was a massive, massive victory for them. To go away to the Bernabeu and to get 3 points. And now Real Madrid losing. So, jeez. Neil, I'm not going to stick my neck out so early. I know there are a few games left. I think 10 games left. Maybe a little bit less than that.
8.
But, 8 games left. And, I'm not making any prediction, for now, especially if referees are going to send players off for barely touching other players. And, I think at the end of the day, you have to be straight with regards to the Spanish referees and all other referees besides English referees. And I think that's why the English sides are battling in the Premier, in the UEFA Champions League, because, you're used to this week in, week out of, smashing people up. I don't know if you saw Fellaini's elbow.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I did.
In the Man City game, and he got a yellow card. If that was in Spain or Italy, gee whiz, he gets not only a straight red, suspended for probably the rest of the season. Yeah, so, it's unbelievable, and I think that UEFA need to bring them, all referees into line and say what is acceptable and what is not. If you have a look at that Fellaini challenge, let's just put it this way, and the penalty in El Clasico, it would have taken the referee 15 seconds, stop the clock, have no injury time in football, stop the clock, send it upstairs within 15 seconds, you know the outcome. And they're playing for big money. It's a massive league title at stake. And, Neymar gets Ramos sent off, and it's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. There are still things about Spain that worry me. I much prefer the hurly-burly of English football. I thought that the Manchester derby showed a little bit of that until Man City got out of sight. What I love is, obviously we're not going to bet on the fucking the German and Scottish leagues, are we? Because 7 games to play, they're both decided. But we've got very similar situations in England and in South Africa regarding the title race. Should we maybe switch over and have a quick look at those top 3/4, if you count Arsenal, and have a look at there's some great games in England this weekend. There really are, including, of course, Arsenal versus Manchester City, the 7:30 game in South Africa, Palace-Chelsea 5 o'clock game, and the early game, Man United, with or without David Moyes, the rumours continue, against Aston Villa. Some very, very interesting games there.
Well, I just want to say, as Top Odds spokesperson and a Man United supporter, that for David Moyes to come out and say we aspire to be like Manchester City, I would have shown him the door straight away.
Yeah, I tap those quotes out. People are complaining about me tapping all the time, but I do tap all the time. David Moyes' exact quote was, I think Manchester City have set us a level that we have to match, and we need to raise our game a few levels to live up to our neighbours.
Yeah.
Crikey, can you imagine Kaiser Chiefs, Stuart Baxter coming out and saying, well, I tell you what, Vladimir Milosevic is so much better than us, we're going to have to improve a few levels, or vice versa.
Why not?
Not going to happen.
No ways.
Well, he's not the only coach that said that about Man City. Even Tim Sherwood a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, but Tim Sherwood's brilliantly mad, isn't he? I love Tim Sherwood.
And he's a gooner.
He came out and said that, a gooner, thank you, Matt, a gooner by birth, as you say, and came out and said Man City are the best side in the world, which Spurs fans probably didn't want to hear. But yeah, no, you're right, Brandon. I agree with you completely. For Moyes to come out and say that when Man United have always been the bigger club in Manchester, well, the bigger club in England, I always think more people in Manchester support City than United. When you actually go there, you find far more people in blue. The guys from Oasis, the Gallagher brothers, used to live in the same village as me, and they always said that the Manchester City are Manchester's team, Manchester United are Britain's team, but you still don't, as Moyes, come out and say we've got to learn from Man City, move up a couple of levels to be as good as them. That's dreadful.
And can you imagine Fergie ever saying that? Not a chance.
No, it's Alex Ferguson definitely wouldn't say that. Brandon?
Look at Ferguson's results against City. He did battle against City these last couple of years. I mean, a 6-1 home defeat to City, and he comes out and says Man United should have played better.
Yeah.
Moyes loses 2-0. And it wasn't a bad performance by Man United. I thought they were unlucky to go behind so early. And then to come out and say, that's the team we aspire to be like. I mean, my goodness gracious. He's lucky he got out of that stadium alive after those comments.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. But, I mean, this morning, as I was saying earlier, the Daily Telegraph saying that there is a dissatisfaction amongst the players against David Moyes. And rumours last night of an emergency board meeting today, because, of course, Man United are quoted stock on the share market, and the Glazers have this huge mortgage against Old Trafford. The whole thing could come tumbling down, and they're not allowed to announce anything without first telling the stock market. And rumours send the share price tumbling or rising. They've played over the odds for Mata and Fellaini. They've paid much too much to Wayne Rooney.
Way too much. To
stay, because they're so insecure and they're worried they're not going to get players because they won't be in Europe next season. It's fascinating, isn't it, Brandon? We could see Man United deconstruct before our eyes.
Most definitely. And once again, I'm going to say this again, that if Jose Mourinho was available and he went to Chelsea because Manchester United refused, interest from him, etc. Because I believe that Real Madrid game last year when they came to Old Trafford, I think that was the perfect job interview for Jose Mourinho. He respected the fans. He comes out in a press conference and says the better side lost the game. And then you go and appoint David Moyes. I think it was a big mistake if he was available, and I believe that he was. But enough of that. I mean, we don't want to talk about our side crumbling all the time on this show. But what I do want to say with regard to managers, and it's happened in the PSL as well, Pete Samani coming out and saying that the win for Sundowns belongs to him and his tactics. I was a little bit shocked by that. Baxter last week, ragging on the fans, and now David Moyes coming out and saying that. Yeah. Maybe managers are getting a little bit ahead of themselves, and maybe the chopping block needs to come out and just to put them back in their place.
That's interesting. We got three things. We got Moyes saying Man United must aspire to be Man City. We've got Baxter last week saying, I have to question whether I want to be at a club where people boo and Carter. And then we've got Mosimane coming out after the 3-1 win at Platinum Stars and saying, blimey, I've never worked so hard on a game. I take the credit for this win. I mean, it's fascinating, isn't it? You're right. The coaches, Mourinho kind of leading the way, almost take over from the players in terms of being the high-profile star.
And, that's fine. That's fine. Mm-hmm. But then, you don't want to hear guys sitting and saying, "Oh, yeah, another coach was axed this season." At the end of the day, and I think they're starting to realize this, is that they're going to have their say, because it doesn't really change whether they keep their job or not. At the end of the day, David Moyes now could finish fifth, and I think he would still be in the same position after what he said. So I think it's a fine line between the manager, and I heard from a fairly reliable source that at the Man United ground, they had to put security guards around the banner that says David Moyes is the chosen one. So, I mean, geez, at the end of the day, Man United fans take a lot to get upset. And they're upset, and I think David Moyes is going to have a problem going forward.
Yeah, no, I agree. I actually can't. At first, when I first did Moyes out as the hashtag, right at the start, they won the Charity Shield, didn't they? But did they go a goal down or something? Right at the start, I think it was 0-0 after 5 minutes, and I said Moyes out in his first game, which was the Charity Shield against Wigan.
Yeah.
We had a good old laugh about that. I never thought that we'd be looking at Moyes out as a serious prospect.
No, especially when Ferguson comes out and says he's going to have time. But I just don't think they're playing the Man United way, and I think Ferguson's made a mistake in appointing him. And when Fergie makes a mistake, he's not one to come out and say, I'm sorry, you shouldn't. It's the wrong appointment, etc. I mean, you look at the buys that Ferguson made at the end of his career. I mean, Veron, bringing in Blanc, Barthez. I mean, they were never buys that were going to, set United up in the future. And I think he stayed one season too long. And whoever took over, whether it be Moyes, maybe only a Mourinho could have got what he wanted out of the side.
Yeah.
But I think to sit and listen to Ferguson in the change room, and now listen to David Moyes, who's never won a charity shield, a community shield, that's his first trophy, and to come and tell you guys can win this game, I mean, who's going to believe him? Who's going to believe him?
You're right, but as Comfort Kes was so rightly telling me, we need to get onto a bit of betting, because we've also got, I want to just drag us away from football for the first time this morning. From big bollocks to small bollocks, we need to look briefly at Holland, South Africa, playing at 11:30 in the World T20, followed by mighty England against Sri Lanka at 3:30. If you go to www.tokodds.com, down the green menu, move out of football and into cricket, what can you tell us about the odds on those two games, Brandon?
Oh, well, there's not going to be much betting in the Holland-South Africa game. I mean, we know that Holland should be beaten. The difficulty that comes in there for South Africa is that we need to win well, because net run rate will become an issue in this group. And obviously we have to beat England as well. So England, if you want to have a look quickly at the outright betting for the tournament, I think that's where the money can be made at the moment.
Yeah.
And India are the favourites. World Sports Betting have them up at 5-2. Alan Bookmaker have them up at 28-10. Sri Lanka in at second favourite at 3-1. Australia 9-2. And then South Africa at 7-1. You have a look at your beloved England. They're up at 25-1.
25. What a great bet! Let's all go on England at 25-1. Maybe they'll bring Kevin Peterson back from Surrey, because Graham Smith's now going to pre-season nets and they can't both net together at Surrey. So they'll bring Kevin Peterson, will now come flying over to Bangladesh, where he loves to be, and England will win the World Cup, yeah? Like they did in 2010 with Kevin Peterson. Thank you.
Oh, well, Alan Bookmaker, 3-1. They've got England passed up. And the bottom line is that South Africa, I mean, from that betting, you can see that South Africa are favourites to beat England in that game. And they don't think that England are going to beat Sri Lanka. And I don't think England can beat Sri Lanka on the way that they've been playing. Although their first loss was at Duckworth-Lewis. So maybe you're right. Maybe 25-1, 33-1. England to beat South Africa and Sri Lanka, which they need to do in the next two games to get through. Might just be a little bit of value. I'm not convinced. South Africa at 7-1, I think is a little bit short. I think I don't think the England game, or the South African England game, is as cut and dry as we think it is, especially if Morne Morkel goes and bowls like he bowled against New Zealand. To give Dale Steyn 7 to defend off the last over, and then to do it So I just don't think the South African bowling attack is where it should be. And I think England might be able to exploit that a little bit, although England's bowlers are not up to scratch either. And that could be a very, very high-scoring game. But geez, my heart, you'd have to fancy South Africa to get through this group.
They have to. But how do you? I mean, you got Sri Lanka, New Zealand, England, South Africa. Obviously, Holland out of it. But my godson Alex Hales, and I taught him to play the leg glance. He opens the batting. He hasn't got a run since he went to number 1 in the World T20 standings. He hasn't got a run. He's going to get 80, 90 today, and they're going to beat Sri Lanka, and we'll end up with an England against South Africa sensational fight back to, and one of them's going to go through, I think, and the other one will be New Zealand. I don't know, but you beat
Sri Lanka.
I mean, I've got to say, the whole world stopped for me. I was out with my 80-year-old dad, and the whole world stopped wherever you went in Centurion, which is a pretty crickety area, given its name. And Dale Stein's final over remains for me one of the epic final overs I've ever seen in a cricket
I think I've
game.
watched it about 5 times.
Yeah. And the level of his celebration, a man of 30 who's done everything in cricket, the way he celebrated, I think, said to you exactly what he achieved there. Brilliant.
You know what surprised me a little bit? That he gave Morne Morkel the ball after bowling those first 2 shocking overs. He gives him a ball to bowl the second last over of the match. And he needed 23 runs to get. That I don't understand. Geez, you know what? He's a bowler. He bowled for Chennai Super Kings. I would have taken the ball myself and, be the reason for losing the game. You don't give it to Morne Morkel, who's getting absolutely tonked around the ground.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, every South African's heart was in their mouth. And, it's a tall order to defend 7 off the last over, and Dale Steyn was unbelievable.
Mate, when it was down to 7, that last 4 off Morne Morkel, and the minute it gets out, in cricket terms, we played T20 in England at club level years before T20 became a big thing in the world. And you knew that if you were only defending 8 or 9, you'd never get there. The batting side would always win if they had 2 or 3 wickets left. And yet Dale Steyn did it. That is the mark of the man. So 7-1 South Africa you think is a bit short. 25-1 England you think is ridiculous. Who's going to win it?
I don't know. That Indian side's playing very, very well. I don't like it in every single game. How can you not like Sri Lanka with Malinga and Mendes? West Indies are not out of it, although they're not batting well, but they can beat anyone on their day. I mean, Chris Gale's made 30 runs and 50 runs at a runner ball, and we're saying he's having a bad tournament because we expect it off 15 balls and 20 balls. So they just haven't got going. That, to me, is still a side that can win it. They can win the group, especially Australia losing their first game. That group's wide open. But I think from the betting you can see that the bookies believe that India, Sri Lanka, Australia and South Africa will be the 4 semi-finalists. Just from the betting. Maybe put, 50 rand on England to make Neil happy and hope that they can get through the group.
We'll see, mate. I'd love that to happen. But, I think Proteas much better chance. Proteas and Sri Lanka got to be. New Zealand, England go out with Holland. And then India and Australia from the other group, I think.
I'll have to go with that, yeah.
Okay.
Problem with India is inconsistency. Up, down, up, down.
But I quite like their middle order bowlers now.
Well, that's sort of coming right, yeah.
But every time I watch the West Indies, Brandon, I'm going to whisper this, I think they're cheating. I think the West Indies are doing funny things. Dwayne Smith in the first game, 2 runs off his first 18 balls.
Mm-hmm.
And then Chris Gale producing the slowest innings of his life.
At a runner ball.
Even slower than his test innings. Going at less than a run a ball for 18 overs. He'd been there 18 overs and he had something like 33 or something. He ended up with 48.
Oh, he's going to kick off.
Anyway, I'm not going to go into that.
I must agree with you there, Neil, quickly. And the reason I say this to you is because we can't say that these West Indian batsmen haven't played on these wickets. They're all in the IPL. They're getting paid massive money. And then they come and perform for their country like that. Yeah. You might be right a little bit, don't you?
Inexplicable performances from both Dwayne Smith and Chris Gale in those games. They've won one, lost one. I think they're going out. Brandon, it's brilliant, mate. Listen, because I got Matt and I got Comfort, I got me, I got you. We could talk all day here about cricket, football, rugby, but we can't. Tokodds.com. Get on there, have a look at the betting on the cricket, on the football, see what you come up with. Thanks, Brandon.
Yeah. Good week. Cheers.
Okay, quickly, Matt.
Yeah.
The World T20 winners will be?
I'm going to go with Sri Lanka.
Okay. Sri Lanka, I'm going India. Although Australia, South Africa.
Australia could be tough.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, if it's Warner, isn't it? If Warner comes off, for
Well, that's
Australia,
really it. Yeah,
that's
the
what
big
we're all
one.
hoping. I just can't see Chris Gale dominating this tournament like he used to.
Balls.co.za. Visual Radio.